Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to show you how to do this small project using Stampin' Up goods. It's a little satchel style box that I've come up with, and it opens as so with a little flap here, and there's a specially cut hole with a little thumbprint there, thumb hole, sorry not thumbprint, and when it tucks in like so, it holds the box together really nicely at the sides with no gaping. It's a really nice design, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I've done it. Right, so I'm going to do a pink one this time. So I've done the blues, and so I've chosen, I do believe that this is Blushing Bride. I'm just going to zoom out slightly so that you can see the full scoreboard. There we go, I do believe this is Blushing Bride. So I've cut my piece of card at 11 inches by 8 inches, and I'm going to start to score. And I'm going to score the first score line. Let me just move some stuff out of the way. First score line is at 3 inches, then 3.5, then 7.5, just double checking my measurements, and then 8. And then we turn the card. We do 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 7 inch, and 7.5 inch. Okay, now we're going to cut away all of these parts here, just leaving just the middle flap there. Okay, let me see if I have one. So you're going to end up with a shape like this. If I line it up against what I've got here, so this is what you're cutting away, the long pieces and then the 2 small squares, just leaving these central long squares there. So that's what we're doing. So I am just going to use my scissors. My cutter isn't that brilliant. No lash there. So I have to do everything with my scissors. If you know how to, or you have a good trimmer and you can use your trimmer, then go ahead and do that. There's no notching. You don't need to notch on this design. It's not really necessary on this particular box. Just cut these out. I'm doing it very quickly. I would urge you to take a bit more time and care when you're doing it yourself, because that's how you get the best results. Okay, so now these top bits here, I'm just going to lightly fold all the edges for now, and as we stand at the moment, you have no top and no bottom. They're both the same. So what you need to do now is decide which is going to be your top. For argument's sake, I'm going to have this one, and you need to put it back on your scoreboard, folding that flap in, and score at 1 inch. Where have I put my scoring tool? Oh crikey, I don't know where I've done it. Where's it gone? Gremlins have took it. I'll have to use this. This score at 1 inch. Okay, and this is just going to help you mark out where you're going to cut some more parts away. So there, you go to the 2 inch part mark and the 4 inch mark, and you just score down to this line that you've just scored so that they meet. Okay, so 2 and 4. And then we're going to cut these 2 pieces away. It's puzzling me where that's it's gone. I had it in my hand a minute ago. How would you lose something that was just in your hand? Anyway, we're cutting these parts here away. Now, this is where you want to cut this flat bit. Make sure it's cut really nicely and really precisely, because it does have to fit inside the hole that we're going to create. Now what you can do here at this point is, I'm just going to trim that, I've not cut it terribly straight. What you can do at this point is you can round all the corners on here. It just makes it look a bit neater. Not got the best corner rounder. It's a little bit, it's seen better days. I think I need to get a new one. It's there we go. Come on. work. I think I need to be ordering the Stampin' Up one on my next order. There we go. And we'll round that corner and we'll round that corner. It just makes it look a little bit neater. Now, so this is now your top, okay? And this is going to be your bottom. Now, what we need to do is we need to make the hole that this goes into. So, we're going to use good old-fashioned ruler and pencil. You find the halfway mark, which on this, because it's now 6 inch wide, because you've cut away, the halfway mark is obviously 3. So put a little line at 3. And then you want to mark from the edge down to 1/2 inch, which is there. So you end up with a little X. X marks the spot. You can rub it away later. With pencil, this is why we're doing it on the inside. Then I'm going to go in with the Classics label punch. Apologies for the lighting. The sun's in and out and in and out. I can't make its mind up. And I've marked the halfway mark on my punch so I can help myself line up with this. And we're aiming for this bottom line of the punch to sit on this line here and centralise, and then we will punch it. So take a few seconds to make sure you've got those lined up, which I have there, and then check again before you press it, and then punch. And now that makes the hole for that to go into. To finish it off even neater, you can go in with a 1/2 inch circle punch, and again find the halfway mark and just do a little thumb hole there. Just helps you get your thumb in to undo the box. Now we're going to do some stamping. Now what you can do is you can have this box like this, never ever adhere it. When you fold it together, that slots in there and it will all hold really nicely. One thing I just advise you to do is just do a teeny snip there and a teeny snip there. It just helps with the dynamics of when you fold it, push it together like so. It just makes it shut firmer. So I've pre-cut my card that I'm going to mat the top here with and the bottom here with. And the top piece needs to be 1 3/4 by 5 3/4, and the bottom piece needs to be 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. Apologies for the lighting. So I'm going to start with the bottom one, and I'm going to do my stamping, and I've chosen this stamp here, which is from Timeless Textures, and it's this one here. It's a beautiful stamp, and I'm using, I've got it open ready, this ink, which is Sweet Sugar Plum. It's one of the new ones. It's beautiful, so I'm using that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bear in mind that when this flap closes onto the bottom, I want to still be able to see my stamping, so the stamping needs to be in the bottom corners. So I'm going to go ahead and ink my stamp, and I'm going to put the very top part of the stamp towards the corner and then lay it sort of flat. You'll see when I've stamped it what I mean. Is it that way or is it that way? Yeah, it's that way. And just stamp like so. Then re-ink. It leaves a lovely sort of mottledy faded sort of effect. It's awesome. And then just do the same at the other side, like so. Okay, and then while we're here, we can do the top part, and we're going to do the stamp the other way around on the top part, and we're going to have it pointing upwards. So go for the top corner like so and stamp, and then we're going to do the other side, just mirror image it like so and stamp. Now for the top one, to make it look neater, because we have corner rounded the top part of the bag, I'm going to corner round this bottom part. You just can't, get the card out, you corner rounding the part that is the bottom and leave the top straight. Okay, so I'm just corner rounding that. And then it will line up nicely. And now what we need to do is start and attach our layers. Apologies for that. Phone always starts pinging when I'm doing a video. So I'm using Fuse to attach this because it's card to card. That is apparently the best thing to use. So I'm going to adhere that over, and then we're going to go back in and repunch this hole. You would think, you know, do it with the layering on top, but you can't always guarantee, because I'm using an inferior 1/2 inch circle punch, it won't go through both cards. So I'm having to do it in stages. So that's why, if anybody's wondering why I'm backtracking. So I'm going to go back in with my classic label punch so that it goes through the very vanilla cardstock mat that I've done, and then go back in with my circle punch and punch that out, and that's the bottom part done. Okay, now we're going to mat and layer, well, layer the top part. So we attach it, some Fuse to it, and then we're going to attach it as neatly as we can. A little bit of extra adhesive there, doesn't matter. Okay, now what you can do at this stage is you can adhere your sides. So I'm going to just very carefully and as close to the edge as I can put some Fuse on that side and on this side. I'm hoping I'm in shot, am I? Oh, yeah, just about. And then very carefully fold that over and very carefully line it up with the edge of your flaps. There we go. Just tuck your finger inside and give it a little press. And then the same at this side. Just tuck it over so that it's flush. Try and get it as flush as you can. Oh, is that flush? There we go. Get your finger in and press. And that is the box formulated now. That will tuck into there. And because you've done the little tiny slits, it pushes nicely. There's no gaping. Right, so now I'm going to do my little sentiment, and I'm going to show you how to do the handle. Now when you cut your cardstock, you will have strips left over. Just use one of those. I'm going to use the wider one, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to score it in half and double it over. Oh, I don't know if you can see. There we go. So I'm just going to go to the halfway mark of this strip, which is the scrap left over from cutting the cardstock for the back, for the satchel. And then I'm going to fold it in half and hope that it will suffice, because you don't want to be cutting into another sheet of paper just to make a small handle. The other thing that I would do is I would carefully mark so that it's in a nice position. So mark at 1.5 on one side and 1.5 on the other, and then you know you're going to get a nice even spacing for your handle. Okay. Now I'm going to run Fuse down the centre of this little handle that I've created, just to glue it all together. And then I'll assess how much I need, because I don't think I actually measured it when I made the first one, so I don't know. I'm going to hold it against the, to curve it, just run your pencil along it like so, and that will curve it. Okay, let me see how much I need. Let me just have a little look. I'd just eyeball it, to be honest. I think that would be enough. So let me quickly measure that for you, and then you have got an actual measurement, because I did just eyeball it. So that's like 6.5 inches. So I'm just going to fold in at about just a thumb width at each end, just to make a little flat part to adhere it to your bag. And I'm just going to attach a small amount of Fuse if you have brads, this is a good opportunity to use some fancy brads. I don't actually have any, so I can't use any, hence I'm using Fuse. Stick it to where you put your little mark in. And there. Like so. Oops. And you've got a little bag. In fact, I think I probably would just move that further on actually, to the outside of my marking rather than the inside of my marking. Sometimes you just need a little adjustment so that things look right. That's better. Okay. And as I say, if you've got some nice brads, that would look cute. So for my sentiment, I'm going to get Very Vanilla again. And I have this sentiment here, which is my favourite at the moment. And it comes from this Bella and Friends set. And it says, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And it's just my go-to thank you stamp at the moment. I don't have an awfully large collection of Stampin' Up things. And so, you know, I use what I've got. You don't have to have the full sets of everything and have everything exactly matching. Although, hopefully at some point I will. Because it's can find it to be quite addictive. So there, I'm stamping that. Oh, it's splodged a bit on the edge. So I'm just going to do that again. That'll be my stamping. I'll have pressed it too hard. There we go. Do it again. That's better. Don't press it too hard. There's your motto. And then I'm going in with the Labels punch again, which again is one of my go-to punches at the moment because I don't have a huge selection of items, but you don't have to. You can just buy what you need and you can create an absolute mountain of different projects just using different colours and different idea variations. I'm just very gently inking around the edge, just helps it stand out because it's going up, you know, onto the same coloured cardstock. Now, you might put it on dimensionals. I'm not going to because it's a gift and it's going to be opening and shutting because it's going to have a card and a notebook in it. So I'm just going to use a flat adhesive. I'm going to find the central part of that and just attach it like so. And then I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of bling. So I'm coming in with the Stampin' Up, what are they called? Rhinestone, Jewels Basic Rhinestone. I'm just going to get a little rhinestone and just put a little sparkle there just to give it a tiny lift. And there you go. That's your satchel box created and opens really nicely like so and closes again and holds, if I can close it, closes very nicely. And I'm going to come back on another video and show you what to put inside it. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me, I hope it wasn't too long. Bye for now.